Just you wait. We're getting into yard sales here in our next section here because we're going to be talking about our top live albums. And wow, do I have a doozy that I'm going to be kicking things off with here in just a minute. Live albums is a part of our vinyl collection, often these days a part of bootlegs. How many live
Yep.
bootlegs do you have? But there have been excellent live albums released over the years. And so we wanted to do a top 5 of the only criteria being the album was recorded live.
Yep. This list was hard for me because I had some that I wanted on there, but then as I was looking through my collection, I'm like, oh no, that's a much better choice than that. I approached it more of what do I listen to the most? Or if somebody would often I'll have like friends over and they're like if I want to hear somebody recorded live, what is a good example? Play me some kind of live music that's going to sound amazing. I think my top 5 are ones that I'll be like, okay, I gotcha. Check this out. Uh, I'm going to have some notable ones that aren't on my list that people are probably going to put in the comments like, why didn't you include this? Why didn't you include that? Trust me, they were probably on the list, but I pulled them off.
I
And I was
probably didn't
surprised
have
you
it.
actually
I didn't probably have
you
it, although I've got plenty of live albums to pick from.
you
But
you didn't have them on your list either, which I was surprised. Like,
are
I
we
mean,
talking about Iron Maiden Live After Death? Is that what we're talking about here?
yep,
Because I don't have that
yep,
on vinyl yet. How did I know
that's
that's what we were talking about? But I knew that's what we were talking. That
that's one
album
of
is
them.
incredible, though. Yeah.
Frampton Comes Alive is another one.
Okay.
That probably should have been on my list. Cheap Trick at Budokan, another one probably should have been on my list.
Pink Floyd Live at
But
Pompeii, if that
yep,
counts, which is
yep.
debatable.
I mean, yeah, well, if we're counting that, a couple of mine are going to be debatable, but we'll get into that
Yeah.
when I do my list. But yeah, and that's the thing too. What do you consider a live album? Is it does it have to be like a concert that was professionally recorded live? Is it them going into the studio and recording something live, but don't do a bunch of overdubs and stuff on it,
Yeah.
Like Kiss Alive 1 and 2 and 3 probably should have been on my list because those are amazing sounding records, but they're not on my list.
I wanted to go with the
So yeah.
theme. We're celebrating summer, and summer is often about
Okay.
concerts. And so the way I largely approached it was concerts. Concert audio in
Okay.
particular. What's interesting about live albums is they're such a big part of the vinyl scene. There's so many live albums out there, but in some ways, the recording of these classic live albums often wasn't really up to snuff. Even all the way through the 80s,
True.
the quality of live albums is always like, well, it sounds okay for a live album. And sometimes it's excellent. We'll have some cases of that here too, but it's not always about is the audio quality good. Sometimes it's about the energy.
Right. Right.
My first one is tough in that I'm going to talk about it, but I can't play it. And I already know I can't play it because the last time I tried to play a clip from Journey live in Houston 1981 Escape Tour on YouTube, I had a worldwide content block. One of only 2 cases on YouTube of that. So I guess we don't get to listen, unless I get lucky here, to the Journey live in Houston 1981 Escape Tour. But it's one of the greatest live classic rock concerts ever put to film and tape. It sounds amazing, and it's Journey basically at their peak, doing an absolutely nailed their performances on this, and it's got some of the coolest singing of one of the coolest Journey albums. And yeah, it's Journey, but it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. If you haven't heard it, this may be the one that is like, oh, I guess Journey was a really good band.
It does sound really good though. Yeah, they did a good job at that recording for sure.
The reason I'm bringing it up, though, is this was a $1 record, another $1 record that I picked up just recently. And here's the funny bit. I just be prepared, people. Be prepared. So we've talked about how I have a problem, or not a problem, but a gift, but also a superpower, but also a curse
Oh, it's a superpower,
which
sir.
is that I can see things that trigger my brain, whether I'm looking at them or not. And in late July, my son and I were driving down the road. I was driving in the car through a local neighborhood on the way to get to a big highway that gets you to places. And I swear to God, I did not look at this. While just driving down the road at 35 miles an hour, out of my periphery, my brain suddenly received the information. You just saw a Sears Telegames video computer center with its top missing and a flower vase inside of it. And I was like, I know that I just saw that out of the periphery of my eye, and I identified it as exactly what it was. And so I told my son, I was like, well, when we go back, because I was on a way to a thing. On our way back, we have to stop and see what is there. And sure enough, it was, in fact, this is not the one I bought. This is one that's already been in my collection for some time. I didn't buy it because it was in bad shape. But I was absolutely correct that it was, in fact, a Sears Telegames branded, as in different from the Atari branded video computer center that they were offering for just a couple dollars, along with a bin full of records at $1 each. And that is where that Journey came from. That is where a whole bunch of Santana records came from. And since I can't play Journey, that is where this mono pressing of the Rolling Stones, December's Children, and everyone else came from.
Oh my gosh.
This record has got edgeware. This record has got wear. It's from 1966 or whatever. An incredible find for $1, and I'm including it in place of Journey because it's an interesting example of the era of recording of the Rolling Stones when in the middle of Stones and Beatles mania, in that there are live concert clips where the screaming of the audience is essentially drowning out the band.
Yep. Amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing find. For like $5, I picked up 5 amazing early pressing records. And some of them are scratchy. It's fine. Paid $1 for it.
And that was like not years ago. That was just
a couple weeks ago.
In July, you said.
Yeah, late July here. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe that out of the corner of my eye. I was not only able to identify it, but my brain was like, no, you did. You did, in fact, actually see this. And then I was also correct, having never actually directly looked at it while driving down the road at 35 miles an hour. So, the fact that it was even inside of a vase missing its top was the kicker on it. So,
well, yeah, it is. Yeah. That's actually very impressive. So my number 5, we're going to start off with Tesla and their 5-man acoustical jam.
And the sign says long-haired freaky people need not apply. So I took my earbud to my hand and I waited to ask him why. He said, you look like a fine outstanding young man. I think you do. So I took out my hat. I said, imagine that. Me working for you. Oh, signs everywhere beside. Fucking up the scenery, breaking that night. Do this, don't do that. Can't you read the sign?
This was recorded. They played a little small club in Philadelphia, and they recorded this all acoustic. This is just plain black press, but this is like a really hard album to find. I had to import this one from Japan. This is like a Japanese press. It doesn't have the obi, unfortunately, but this was not cheap, and it's not going to be cheap if you find it. This is way, way, way out of print, and I don't know if they're ever going to reprint this. Uh, this is this Tesla. It was at their heyday. Was right after Mechanical Renaissance came out. Trying to think of Great Radio. I don't think Great Radio Controversy had came out yet. It was soon coming out, and they just kind of dropped this in the meantime.
And it ended up kind
this-
of being the more well-known album in some ways.
It is, yeah, it is, because it's got Signs on it, which is their cover of Signs, which blew up, and that's kind of what most people know Tesla for. If you're not like a huge Tesla fan, I guarantee you have heard their Signs cover. They also do like a Grateful Dead cover on here as well. They do a Deep Purple cover on here. So they do Rolling Stones covers. They do a Beatles cover. So they do a lot of covers, and then a lot of their own music. But it's all acoustic. This sound quality on this is amazing. They did a really good job at like recording this and pressing this and making this. This is original, like I said. This is way out of print. If you want to try to find this,
That's crazy, though. So you're a big Tesla fan. Why is it out of print? Do you actually know? Is it all those cover song rights? Is that what it is?
My guess is it's the rights. It's like a right issue, I would assume. Yes. But then again, a lot of the Tesla stuff is like out of print or had never been on vinyl. So I'm not sure why, but that one I think it's more to do with rights, because there's like 4 covers on that album, and I'm sure it would probably be a nightmare to get, because I'm sure they had the rights then to put it out, and they put it out on vinyl, CD, and cassette, and then I don't think they ever thought about, oh, hey, we're going to have to re-release this in 20 years because people are going to want this again. But like I said, if you're looking for that and you want to find it, be prepared. It's not going to be cheap.
Also,
That,
I would say maybe
worth
this is just my own experience and is just some weird quirk, but I tend to find that one is often unofficial. You'll see a lot of bootleg of that one.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That one is well bootlegged, but I can't speak to the quality of the bootlegs. I know some of the bootlegs sounds good, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But yeah, that one I don't know, but if you find an OG of it, you're going to know it's an OG by the price tag you're going to see, and then once you pick yourself up off the floor, you'll decide if you want it or not. It's still pretty readily available on cassette and CD, though. So
that's what I was going to say. Just get it on CD. CD is the place to listen to that one anyway.
Yeah.
Vinyl, that's the one thing about live concerts. They weren't made for vinyl records because they were live concerts.
That is
so
true.
There's always going to be that sort of split somewhere in the middle.
It hasn't been repressed on CD, but they pressed like so many of those CDs. I bet every record store I'm in, and because I always flip through the CDs too, I almost always see 1 or 2 copies of that. So you can find it on CD fairly easy if you want that one.
It is probably the Tesla album I'd recommend, at least to start with, because it'll give you a good sense of their musicianship.
Yep. I agree.
Less so my next recommendation, which is my number 4 in terms of the sense of musicianship, because my number 4 is Alan Davies' Psychedelic Warlords, Hall of the Mountain Grill Live, London 2014, a signed copy from Mr. Davey himself, and a really awesome limited to 300 copy 2-disc orange vinyl set of Hawkwind. This is Alan Davey is one of the big members of Hawkwind, along with Lemmy, who went on to do Motorhead and other musicians, Dave Brock and a whole bunch of other people, Nick Turner, etc. However, maybe similar to the Misfits a little bit. If you've ever actually listened to a Hawkwind live concert, you will know that they were really big into playing loud, fast, heavy, intense, spacey, probably while high and also on speed. And as such,
Yeah.
the music tended to maybe not be the greatest sounding stuff in the world, but it kind of didn't matter anyway because nobody was making music like Hawkwind, which was basically
Right.
what
Oh,
if you
no.
took space rock and then just punched everyone in the face with it.
With children playing in the sun, a sense of freedom on the run. We never knew what time it was. We just knew how sublime it was. Our past determined by our stars. My mama knows just where we are. The earth was forming far below. Our dragon showed which way to go. We're spacing out, we're spacing out. We're phasing out by phasing out. We're burning up by turning up. We're phasing out by gazing.
And that's pretty much what Hawkwind does. So,
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
nonetheless, I have Hawkwind bootlegs that I've been seeking out over the years, and they're all uniformly terrible. So when I found this actual signed concert release limited press record, this is made for Hawkwind fans, right? 2-disc set
Okay.
of Hall of the Mountain Grill, which is one of their best albums from the mid-70s, and really just does not have a bad track on it. So hearing it all produced live, it's a great sounding record and a great live performance, even if technically it's pretty rough and it's a little fuzzy in places.
What are we on? My number 4, do not have it on vinyl, was never released on vinyl. Can we please get a release of this on vinyl? And to my knowledge, I don't think it's ever been unofficially released as a bootleg or unofficial either that I know of. At least I can't find it if it has. It is Queensryche and the Operation Live Crime. This was a box set they put out right after, it was a couple months after Operation Mindcrime came out and blew up. There was 2 versions of this, which I can show you both versions. Came with a book. Nice little book. It's got lyrics. It's got like the story. If you're familiar, Operation Mindcrime is a concept album, and this kind of goes through the story of Mindcrime. Tells you all about it. Got some pictures from the thing. There was 2 versions of this box set. Both of them came with the concert on VHS. So anybody that still owns a
That's
VCR,
pretty awesome that you got a VHS tape there. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then came on CD. So, and then the other version, same thing, same box, looks just the same book, same VHS, but it also came on cassette.
That's sweet.
Like I said, this is never, and I've actually never played. These are actually my originals of these that I bought back in the day. I never played the VHS of this, believe it or not. It's Operation Mindcrime performed live in its entirety during Queensryche's 1991 Building Empires tour, May 10th through the 12th, 1991, in Milwaukee and La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Cross, really.
So, and this sounds really, really good too. Like they did such a good job recording this, and it's not just them playing Operation Mindcrime. They actually have actors that are with them. So if you're familiar with the Mindcrime album, you know how there's little like acting bits that are like spliced into it, you know, that kind of flesh out the story. They do that on stage as well. So that's why the VHS is there, because you can actually see it. And believe it or not, Ronnie James Dio is the one that did Dr. X. So he played Dr. X for him. So it's, So
I remember back in the day, that box set was all over the place at like your chain stores, Best Buy and Walmart and what have you.
Oh,
and that's a great example of something that was distributed in giant numbers that honestly is pretty collectible these days. I bet you're not paying. I bet it's gone up in price significantly.
I was surprised. It's been a while since I looked. I was curious one day and I looked and I was surprised. Like, I think it was upwards of $100 for either one of them. And that was a while ago. So I'm sure it's more now.
I remember it was almost, I don't want to say bargain bin, but it was it was around that era where it was all clearanced out and things like that. I remember seeing that all over the place. So
yeah, because like you said, you couldn't go into a Best Buy or a Walmart or a Target or something and not see that on the shelves. It was I want to say it was like $30 when it came out. So I mean, it wasn't that bad a price when it came out for what you got, because like I said, you got the VHS, you got the cassette or the CD, whichever. So just they also did a DVD release of it too, which I have, which has 5.1 surround on it. But I don't know why they never pressed that to vinyl.
Yeah, you think they would. Again, it is a very good concert and a pretty famous one. So
it is. It is. Yep.
The opposite of a famous concert is my number 3 pick, and that is one of my first chances to bring up The Residents on the Record Players podcast. One of my all-time favorite bands that I haven't really had the opportunity to bring out too much, but I'm doing so here. This is a 2018, 2019-ish release by Secret Records. It is a numbered release, and I've got 71 of 218. And this is a
low number.
It is, and this is a comes with a patch, and this is a gatefold vinyl of a long unreleased, officially, Residents tribute to a guitar player who toured with them extensively who passed away. Snakefinger is a guitar player that was a frequent collaborator and both creatively and otherwise with the Residents, would often be their guitarist on stage, and died of a heart attack at too early of an age in the 1980s. He died in London. The Residents are based out of San Francisco and were not able to attend the funeral, despite really being essentially blood brothers, would be how I would describe it. And so as a result, instead what they did is they held a wake in San Francisco for Snakefinger and all of his friends and loved ones and that in California, and then performed live at that wake a composition that they created for it. called Snakey's Wake. And it's really them mourning their lost friend, while also explaining to those in attendance what Snakefinger did musically, perhaps to those who were like, I don't listen to weird experimental guitar music, that kind of thing.
Right.
And it's a really, really good live recording that was in residence fan club releases and bootlegs and kind of unofficial stuff for years and years until it got this limited press by Secret Records. And the quality of this pressing is really why it's my number 3. And the rarity of it, and the subject matter, and the fact it's the residence. But this is a beautiful looking record that plays flawlessly and is really an incredible production.
I never even knew that was even available. I mean, I'm not like a huge.
It
I mean,
kinda
I know
isn't.
of the
That's the
residents.
thing.
Yeah.
It kind of isn't. So, but it's an example of a live concert that was released, a famous one. I first heard it on CD in their Stranger Than Supper UWeb CD, and UWeb was Uncle Willie's
Okay.
eyeball, something or other, and it was basically the fan club, the 80s and 90s
Oh,
fan club of
gotcha.
the Residents.
Speaking of not really available on vinyl anymore and hard to get, is going to be my number 3. This full disclosure, this is an unofficial press because I don't have $400 to buy the original press of this. It's Alice in Chains. It's the MTV Unplugged. Said this is unofficial. It's on the orange custom. It's really more orange than what it shows up on camera. It kind of shows up a little brown on camera, but it's more orange than brown. This sounds really, really good. This was only ever pressed on vinyl one time, and it was put out by Music on Vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Then Music on Vinyl lost the rights to it, and it's just never been repressed. Rumor has it, though, we're going to get a repress of this by Alice in Chains themselves, because they've been going back and repressing all of the Alice in Chains stuff once it hits like the 20th or 25th anniversary of the album. They just did Dirt not too long ago. So everybody's assuming this is going to come soon as well. If you have not seen this MTV Unplugged, do yourself a favor, look it up. It is amazing at how good Lane Staley sounds on this. This was one of his last recordings as well. He died not too soon after this. He was it turns out what we found out is he was basically dying as they were doing this unplugged. He had been through rehab. The rehab unfortunately failed. He got back on heroin like really, really bad. They tried to do one more rehab. That one didn't work either. And that was pretty much the end. And there's certain parts of that performance you can hear him and you can see it if you're watching the video where he's given it, like, you can tell he knows this is it. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to give it all I got. And this is going to be my legacy right here. And it's like, to look back on it now and listen back on it now, it kind of gives me chills in certain parts, because it's like he sounds so amazing and he's just given it his all. And now to know that he was so sick at the time because he had just started his third like stint of rehab and he was going through really, really bad withdrawals when he was doing this recording, and you couldn't tell it at the time, but of course looking back now you can. And it was recorded so well. Of course all the unplugs were recorded, and even for an unofficial one, that one sounds really good. I'm sure the OG Music on Vinyl release sounds amazing, which I've heard it has, but
These
like
were
I
all
said,
very popular CDs, so I
They were,
assumed a bootleg is just going to be a rip of the CD. So
I can kind of tell. I think it is just by, it sounds like it's a little compressed, which you'll hear in the audio rip that I do. I'm pretty sure this was straight from the CD, but yeah. So Alice in Chains Unplugged, and that is kind of how I kind of hinted at earlier when we first started talking about this. Do you consider the Unplugs a live performance? Because technically that's what it was.
I think so.
They went
I think they're
into-
live to the best technical ability that MTV can do for live television video production. And I think that they were recorded live and then edited for broadcast, right? So they recorded it live and then made it and then broadcast it later. So it's not technically being broadcast live, but for sure they're live performances, right? I mean, I can't say I've seen them all, but I've seen that one, and it sure seemed live to me. So
yeah. I like I said, I included the MTV lives because I thought, okay, that Unplugged is live because they went in and recorded the stuff live. So we might get, I don't know, we'll see what the commenters say. If anybody says, well, that's not really a live album, we'll see.
This one is very clearly a live album, has been brought up before. I stepped on it. I love it. Herbie Mann, live at the Village Gate. I'm using the stereo press because I stepped on my mono press. And this is really, I can't say strongly enough that you should get the mono version instead of the stereo version. But at the same time, it still sounds good, whichever version you get. And it's probably one of my favorite, I guess what I would describe as naturally organic live jazz recordings. If you want to know, like, what does jazz sound like live? This is a great example of it. And it's some of Herbie Mann's best flute playing, and it's just really a fun, exciting, creatively interesting album. One of my favorite jazz albums as well.
My number 2, I'm going back to MTV Unplugged, and this might shock a bunch of people because I'm sure everybody was figuring this is going to be his number 1. It has to be his number 1. Well, it's not. It's my number 2. It's Pearl Jam, MTV Unplugged.
Let the boys
this one is kind of hard to find too. This was a record store day release. Uh, you can find this unofficially pressed too, but to find this record store day release, it's a little pricey because it was a limited issue. But yeah, this again, one of the best. Well, in a moment you'll hear the other best MTV Unplugged. A little spoiler, but there's 3 MTV Unplugs I think everybody should listen to, and this is one of the 3. This has one of the best versions of Porch Pearl Jam has ever recorded. And I've listened to a lot of live Pearl Jam, and I have a lot of live Pearl Jam on both CD and vinyl. This is the best recorded version of Porch you can get. So if you like Porch, which is one of my favorite Pearl Jam songs, this is the version to get. So, and shockingly, it's only my number 2.
I agree with what you said for the most part about there being 3 MTV Unplugs that you should buy, and your list is accurate. Except you are forgetting about a King Fourth, which is LL Cool J.
Oh, yeah.
The LL Cool J, Mama Said Knock You Out, MTV Unplugged.
Okay. I did forget
stuff.
about that.
Pretty great stuff.
That is pretty good too. Yes. Okay. You are correct. I did
just
forget
leave
about
that crack alone, man. Just leave that crack alone.
What's your number 1?
My number 1 is one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite albums from one of my favorite artists. And the album, if you're like, can they actually pull this stuff off? I've heard the records, and that sounds like absolutely sonically and technically crazy. They can't actually play it like that, right? Yes. And this is the reason. This is the example of that. This is really, in my opinion, Frank Zappa's best band playing some of his best songs and the best recording in the entire catalog. It was recorded really in California over several nights by a large band, and it's got very famous songs on it, and it's just an incredible version of it. I have a record club version from the late 70s, is what this copy is. I would actually recommend you pick up the Blu-ray that came out maybe a decade ago. That's got just like the full concert on the nice 8 Blu-ray. It sounds and looks great, and I think I'd probably go with that instead. But for vinyl, live concert, Zappa Mothers. From the moment I heard this, I was a Zappa fan, and it's very clearly my number 1.
I always wondered if he could pull the stuff off live that he did, because some of the stuff I have heard, I've often wondered that. I'm like, how the heck are they going to do this live? There's no way they're going to be able to pull this off live.
Yeah, it's similar to listening to like One Size Fits All. Your jaw could be on the floor if you're technically minded for music and like this stuff. You're going to sit there going, "What in the oh my gosh?" You know? So
interesting. Okay, number 1, another one of those on my list. Must listen to. It's Nirvana, MTV Unplugged in New York.
My girl, don't lie to me. Tell me pines where the sun don't ever shine. I would shiver the whole night through. Shiver for me.
I would argue, and I know that a lot of people are going to be surprised I'm going to say this because you know how much I love Pearl Jam. I think this is better than the Pearl Jam Unplugged. Better than the Alice in Chains Unplugged. This is amazing, and they sounded amazing. They were all just syncing together. They played well together. I mean, Nirvana was a good live band anyway, but when they stripped it down and did Unplugged, it was just something totally just amazing and different. They did a lot of covers on this as well, kind of like the Tesla. There's like three or four covers on this. This used to be hard to find, but this recently just got repressed. So you should be able to find this. I see this at record stores all the time now.
It's so you can even
there
get it
was
at
a-
Walmart and such in the United
Yeah,
States.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one actually is from Target. It's a Target exclusive purple, but I've seen it like on red. I've seen it on black, but I've seen this just recently in record stores. So you can get this one again. This was hard to find for a while, but yeah. Then again, this came out not too long before Kurt died. So, different circumstances, as we all know from Lane Staley. But again, the clip I'm gonna put on here, just it's Kurt Cobain at his best, I think, and Nirvana at their best. So if you've never seen this or heard this, do yourself a favor, listen to the Nirvana Unplugged. But that pretty much had to be my number one. And I know a lot of people know of that album, and a lot of people say that's a really good live album, and they would be correct.
We'll get to this someday when we go into our top 5 grunge, but I like Nirvana and in some ways love Nirvana, but I don't own much Nirvana. I have never really purchased a lot of Nirvana albums, and the few I have are on CD, but one of them that I went out and bought as soon as I could and continue to listen to this day is the MTV Unplugged by Nirvana.
Yeah.
It's my personal, I recognize it's not like creatively their most important album. It is my personal favorite Nirvana album. It's the one I'll put on. If I want to listen to a Nirvana album, that's probably the one I'm putting on.
It's right up there, yeah. With it's just so good. And like I said, they were I think it surprised a lot of people because all people knew of Nirvana was just the other albums, and it's like, oh, they're just, loud, they're just like a wannabe punk band, like they don't really know how to play, they're not good musicians, they don't know what they're doing.
Well, I love your number one. It's a good one.
This was a really hard list for me because, like I said, I had like Kiss not Unplugged, but Kiss Alive was on my list for a while, and then I'm like, oh no, I got to put Alice in Chains on there, so I'm gonna bump Kiss off, and then it was I was surprised at how hard this list was, and then I wrestled with myself about putting Pearl Jam above Nirvana, but I'm like, I gotta go with Nirvana as number one though.
Nirvana Unplugged is the most famous of the MTV Unplugged. Yeah.
Oh, hands down, yeah.
If I get to do it also, Rand, the one I struggled with is I really wanted to include Steve Martin, one of the Steve Martin comedy records, somewhere in the top 5 here because they're mostly recorded just live performances, those classic Steve Martin albums. And I kind of maybe I'll just throw a real brief clip in here.
To open the show, I always like to do one thing that is impossible. So right now I'm going to suck this piano into my lungs. There. Okay, let's get started. We're having some fun though, aren't we, kids? How many people are here tonight? Raise them up. Good. Okay, this is it. Still $4 to get in? $4? That's not bad though, you know, $4 in today's world with inflation and all that. It's like nothing. It's like, gee, I got $4. I think I'll throw it out in the street. Oh, I can come in here for $4? Okay. What happens?
I didn't think about that because I could have put some Sam Kinison. Have You Seen Me Lately? That's a really good live comedy show. Eddie Murphy Raw. That would be. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about the comedy albums as being live too.
Yeah.
I was just thinking music, but yeah. Okay, all right.